Hey Right Riders, Keith Wheeler here, back with another video for you. Today's video is the first installment in the Back to Basics series, and we're going to talk about how do you find a good niche. Now, if you already know what you're going to write, don't leave just yet because you can still learn a lot from this video. So just stick around. Oh, and this works whether you're writing fiction, nonfiction, children's books, or even no content, low content books. Regardless of what you're self-publishing, if you want to better your chances of making money self-publishing books, then you need to understand how to find a good niche. Now, I've been self-publishing books since 2016, so there's a lot of little nuances of self-publishing books that I do on a regular basis, just out of habit, but that first-time authors may not know about. That is exactly what the Back to Basics series is all about. So if you're excited about today's topic, make sure that you dropkick that thumbs up button. It'll give you an endorphin rush, and it gives me that nice warm fuzzy feeling inside. So how do you find a good niche? Well, first, real quick, let me tell you what a niche is and why it's important. A niche is a small targeted group. Sometimes people confuse genre with niche, and these are related, but they're not the same thing. Niches are important because they help us narrow down our focus to both provide the best content for our consumers, but also to help minimize the competition. Basically, it's better to be a big fish in a small pond than a small fish in a big pond. Let's take pizza, for example. If I said, raise your hand if you like pizza, about 80% of you would have your hand up. Now, if I said, raise both hands if you like barbecue sauce and pineapple on your pizza, well, you can imagine the number of people raising the roof is going to be a lot less. This is an example of a niche market. And while less people are consumers of that market, if the demand is high and the number of competitors is low, this can be a highly profitable niche. Oh, you can put your hands down, by the way. So now that we understand what is a niche and why they're important, let's head on over to Amazon and I'll show you how to find a good niche. Well, here we are on Amazon.com. And the first thing we want to do is we want to be in incognito mode. And the reason why we want to do that is because it removes any of the bias of our own shopping experience. And the way to do that is regardless of what browser you're using, if you go to the right-hand corner up in the top, there'll usually be an ellipse or something like that. If you click on it, there'll be an option that says incognito window or private window, whatever. It's the same thing. Basically, again, you're acting as if you're an everyday searching consumer as opposed to what you've searched for yourself. So that's the first thing you want to do on Amazon.com. Now we want to find, I like to search for Kindle books. So you can do that a couple ways. The easiest way for me is to just go in down here, hit the drop down and select Kindle Store. Okay. And this is going to bring up everything from the Kindle Store. Okay. This is your bestsellers. So what we want to do is we want to find a niche. Well, the way to do that is you're looking for two things. One, you're looking for low competition, but you want high demand. And the way you tell the demand is by looking at the BSR or the bestseller ranks of the top books in that particular niche. Now, I'm using a Chrome extension called DS Amazon Quick View. It's completely free and it just kind of speeds things up. And I'll show you what that does in a second. First of all, you want to, anytime you're creating a book, whether it's no content, low content, or a written book, you want to find something that interests you. Because especially if you're writing, if you don't have an interest in it, that's going to be visible in the writing. So let's just say you're interested. I do children's books all the time. So let's say you're interested in romance. Okay. So what you're seeing here is as I'm typing, their drop down is coming and it's showing me searches that people have done. And because I'm in incognito mode, it searches that other people have done, not my own. That's why it's a big deal. And so just by looking at this right here, you can get an idea of what people are searching for and get idea for niches. I can do romance Spanish. So if I spoke Spanish, wrote Spanish, then this might be a good niche for me. Now, again, we're trying to find something that's not super competitive. And so romance books for women is probably going to be competitive. Now, unless you're writing an epic novel, I will be honest with you, if done correctly, this aspect, finding a good niche, is probably going to be the most time-consuming part of your entire process. But it's completely worth it by knowing that your book is going into a niche where the competition is low and the demand is high. So it takes a little bit of time to do it, but you're knowing right off the bat that you're setting yourself up for good sales. Now, obviously it's not a guarantee, but it betters your chances. Let's look at romance mystery books, and we're going to see the competition. So the competition here is 60,000. That's a lot. That means your book is going to have to compete with 60,000 other books out there. And so that's probably not the niche we want to go with. Let's do teens. Okay, so when I started typing teens, I got romance book for teens, for teenager boy, for teenage girls 14 to 16, 16 to 18. So I would imagine this is probably going to be low competition. Okay, so 20,000. It's better than 60,000, right? Let's try this. There we go, 9,000. Again, way less competitive. Romance books, book for teenage girls 12 to 14. Let's see what that is. Okay, so we're getting closer. 4,000 still, quite a bit of competition. Wow, there we go. So 2,000. Romance books for teens 12 to 16 girls. It's only a 2,000 competition, okay? So that tells us that there's not a lot of competition. Ideally, you want to get something that's less than 1,000, but in something like romance, that's going to be hard to do. So then now we're going to scroll down and we're going to see what the books are ranking. Now, keep in mind that these books are ranking based on the millions of books that are currently in Kindle. This book right here is ranked number 463. Now, this is kind of like a top 10, if you will. So the closer to one, the better, the more books they're selling. So out of millions of books, this one's 463. So this is selling probably hundreds of books a day. So it's not really something we could probably compete with, but it's good to look at. So we can look at this. Now, if you want to look at a couple books, this right here is what that DS Amazon Quick View Chrome extension does. It shows right here what the ranking is, what the BSR is. So again, it makes things easier. I'll show you, if you don't want to use the Chrome extension, I'll show you how you can see that as well. What you can do is, I'm going to click on a couple books. Now, if you want to open up a couple books at a time, what you can do is you can hold down your control button on your keyboard, or command if you're on a Mac, and then click on it and it will open it up in a new tab. So there's that one. This one's 3,000. That's still really good. I want to try to do some that are not in the series, or at least not in the same series. All right, that's a different series. That's 13,000. Still good. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to show you down here under the product details, we'll tell you the bestseller rank, the BSR right here. But it also gives you a little bit more information. It tells you what 3 categories they're ranked the highest for. These categories will help you decide which categories to put your books in. It also helps you decide and kind of narrow down your niche if you want. So this tells you about that the book is about emotions, which most young adult books are, but you can click on that. But I'm going to look at these other tabs real quick. We can see the BSR, and then we can see what categories they're in. This one was all about marriage and divorce. So again, ideas for what could possibly be your niche, what your book could be about. Let's look at this other one. It also will give you some information like the length, how many pages the print version is. That's good to know, so that way you know how comparable your book will be to this one. So again, this the BSR, and then this one is about education, football. So again, if that's the kind of book that you're looking to write, good to know. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go over to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this one right here, marriage and divorce, because I think that'll be less competitive. So I'm going to click on it. And what that'll do is that will bring me to the bestseller list for that particular category. So it's going to give me the top 100. Now, the first page is going to show me the top 20. And what I care about is I care about the BSR, the bestseller rank. So right here, the very first book is ranked 3,294 out of all of Kindle. Now, if I scroll all the way to the bottom, I'll see that the number 20 is 95,000. Now, round about 100,000 is averaging about a sale a day. So right now, this tells me that if you put your book in this particular category and you can based on the ads you run or the following that you already have, if you can get on average about a sale a day or a little bit more, then you have a really good chance of being in the top 20 for this particular category. And obviously, the higher you are, the closer you are to 1, the better your chances of getting sales and being seen. So if you're in the top 20, then there's a much better chance of you being seen than if you're, 1,000 or whatever. In this one particular category, you only have to get about, on average, 1 sale a day in order to be in that top. But based on what number 1 is, that tells us that, with it being 3,000, that tells us that the demand is there, because we know that enough people are buying it to keep this in the top 10,000. So they're selling probably a dozen or more copies a day in order to keep this up, this bestseller rank. Also, just a side note, bestseller rank updates on average once an hour about. So it's always fluctuating. So these sales have to be continuous in order for you to stay at that level. Yeah. So this shows us, we saw by the 2,000 competitors, that shows us that there's not a lot of competitors. It's not like 60,000. So our competition is good, not ideal, but it's good. But the BSR is showing us that people are actually buying it. You can go into categories and write a book that has very little competition, only 1 or 2 books in it. But if there's no bestseller rank, then that means no one's buying it. So not necessarily great to have a book that's in no competition if there's no sales. So this is a great combination of lower competition and good sales. Now, another thing you can do is if you click right here in the middle, it says new releases. If you click on this, this will show you how many books are coming up and what their rankings are that have been published in the last 30 days, because that's what's considered a new release. And so by clicking on this, we can see if your book was to come out now, could you compete? So let's see what the hot new release number 1 spot is for this category. What's its ranking? 1.3 million. 1.3 million. So if you can average, 1 sale a day, then as a new release, your book is going to be right there. It'll be right here, number 1 hot new release, which means it'll show up on the other list and on the top 100 list. But also keep in mind that it's the same, it's all in the same category. And so not only will you be the top 1 in this category for new releases, but you're also, if you can get 1 sale a day or more, we showed you'll be in the top 20 of the top 100 in that category. So again, increasing your chances of more sales. And that's where you start. But because more people are now seeing you, you'll now can get more sales that way, more visibility, and eventually get closer and closer to that number 1 spot. Now, one thing that you may notice is that a lot of these are saying Kindle Unlimited. And this is the KDP Select program that you can choose to be in when you're uploading your book to Amazon, to KDP. But we'll cover that in another video. So that right there is exactly why you want to find a good niche, because by finding that good niche with low competition and high sales, high demand, betters your chances of making money selling books. And that's why we're doing it, right? Yeah, we're doing it because we love it. But again, it's a lot easier to love something when you're seeing profit from it. Well, there you go. So as you can see, teen and young adult fiction on marriage and divorce, very specific, very niche, but the demand is there. So if you were to write a book, and let's say this category was the category you picked, you've got a really good shot of making quite a bit of money doing it. But again, it's got to be something that you're passionate about. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to click subscribe and smash that bell icon so you get alerted every time I put out a new video, whether it's a back to basics or more advanced tactics. Now, if you're wanting to write a children's book, well, then check out this series right here where I show you step-by-step how to create a picture book from scratch. Now, if you're not looking to write a children's book, or you've already seen that video, well, YouTube picked out this video just for you. So continue the learning. I'll catch you inside. And remember, to write right.